I'm bored. Let's talk about this absolute meltdown over D&D showing some gay characters in one piece of art. To start this out, I am a longtime D&D player. I've been playing since the second edition, which goes all the way back to the late 80s, early 90s. And I've been playing consistently for a very long time. I play a lot of role-playing games in general. So I'm someone that is very deep into this community. I host 2 different D&D groups every single week, and we play with a large portion of the queer community in D&D. Of course, everyone is welcome, but because of bigots and idiots, we've had to separate our groups from time to time to protect people from getting harassed and getting attacked by folks like this. So this is Yorch Torch Games, another absolute idiot on social media, showing the picture. We're going to look at the larger picture in a second, but showing a small clip here of this D&D situation, and says, "Sign of a weak man plays modern Dungeons and Dragons," which is weird that you're saying it is weak to play D&D while you yourself are having an absolute meltdown over the fact that there are 2 gay characters in this picture and you've zoomed in on them to call this weak. How is it that a community that gets attacked constantly, the gay community gets attacked all the time by groups like this, we still keep pushing, we still keep working our asses off to be a part of this, the groups, these communities, and we even have to create our own portions of it, like I said, to get away from it sometimes? How is that weak? Wouldn't weakness be giving up and rolling over and saying that's it? That to me would be a sign of weakness. So if you're ever here saying that it's weak to play a diverse game, a choose your own adventure game where you build your own characters because one piece of art shows 2 men in it, in a world where people have relationships with animals and creatures, to me, that shows a weak man. So before we go any further, I just want to show the full picture here. This was posted on the D&D Twitter, and it shows a variety of people doing different things everywhere in this picture. So you're seeing a little bit of every kind of person that might play D&D done in a different, more animated art style, which I've seen some people complain about the art style. I don't really care about that. If you don't like the art style, that's fine. I'm not going to say you have to like the art style. It's not where I'm at. But I will say it's a little strange to look at this and go, actually, I'll say it's a little bit disingenuous to look at this and say that the biggest problem with this picture is the art style, considering the litany of people that I've seen complaining about the beholder with the eye, the colors in his eye, and the 2 men together. The vast majority of complaints that I've seen has been because of that. And when I say majority, I'm not talking about randos on Twitter. I'm talking about people with large social media followings that need to push a narrative. They need to paint a narrative. So they're acting, a lot of these guys are tourists. They don't even play D&D. They don't even play it. So if you're not playing it at all, you've never played it, or you've stopped playing it for whatever reason, why do you give a fuck about this random piece of art that shows 2 gay men together? I also argued with someone earlier today. There's a long thread of me arguing with somebody who kept trying to imply that the issue wasn't the gay stuff. It was so disingenuous. They're like, oh, no, it's the art style. It's the cutesy art style. I'm like, are you kidding me? Nobody, I don't see anyone complaining about that exclusively. Even if I conceded and was like, okay, if we change the art style but leave everything else the same, would that make it okay? The answer is no. The answer is no. So it's not the art style. The art style isn't the major reason. The reason why is the gay characters in the scene. Let's be clear here. So then we have someone going, D&D then versus now, what went so wrong? And as says a lot of gay shit. But it's not the gay stuff, right? It's just the art style. You guys aren't trying to gatekeep people out of D&D. That would be crazy. That would be a crazy concept, right? That would be a crazy concept. By the way, I've not seen any proof from any of these guys who are criticizing this, any of the big accounts, that they actually play D&D. So it's a narrative. It's a virtue signal. They talk about virtue signaling. For a lot of them, when they jump in on stuff as a tourist and they start complaining about it, it's a virtue signal for a narrative they're trying to paint. And then you have the people who are coping over this, like John Delarose. Dungeons and Dragons is satanic, and the whole purpose is promoting evil. Screw you, Rob and Base, for banning me over being right. You're just mad you didn't have the balls to say anything. Let me see this picture here that shows a beholder hypnotizing these 2 guys to be together. So then wouldn't you be happy about this? I feel like this would be a win for you if the Beholder was forcing people to be together and it wasn't something that was just happening between two characters. Maybe I'm wrong. And then down here, there's a little bit of back and forth. It says, out of curiosity, are you of the view that all D&D is satanic or just 5th edition? AD&D is right-wing and inherently Christian, just like its founder, Gary. Except it isn't. D&D was never either inherently right-wing nor Christian. He became Christian after he sold the IP. You're a dumbass fucking arslur. If you think that D&D is by inserting your agenda ideology, despite it isn't the theme of the franchise. And then instead of addressing any of this here, any of it, his response is, go back to your pride town and fantasize about kobolds in this real gamer discussion. So he doesn't even try to refute the claim that the creator was Christian after he sold the IP, because he knows it's true. He's not going to go down that rabbit hole. Okay, so not only do you refuse to listen to reason, but you also want to self-insert your own headcanon into a tabletop RPG that isn't inherently political and smear the creator as a right-wing, despite the creator openly admitting that he is a libertarian. He was never right-wing. Well, we could have some discussions about libertarians and right-wingers. And then over here goes, smear the creator as right-wing, smear more like claim. The left hates him. I'm happy to claim him. So that's all that's required here. Which, by the way, JDA is a propagandist. That's what his content is. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Let's look at one more. We have a little back and forth here with Dead Domain. Shout out to Dead Domain and the Archcast, where Dead Domain shows some pictures of old D&D and says the funniest part of the nerds freaking out about this entirely innocuous and pointless post is they can't help but show their version of cool fantasy is just the lamest, most tired headcanon dumb shit imaginable. Now, this is in response to them freaking out and talking shit about that poster. So Dead Domain is participating in that conversation. The same thing I did with my response, which I'll show in a second. And people were trying to say I shouldn't say what I was saying either, like tone policing me, which, by the way, fuck that. So Dead Domain gives them the same energy back that they were giving. And then we have Archcast coming in here going, so this perfectly explains why there can be no coexistence in hobby spaces. We literally have 100% polar opposite opinions on what is and is not cool. There can be no shared hobby when we exist in parallel realities. My person, it's a RPG tabletop game where you make your own adventure. You don't have to coexist. You do not have to play D&D with this person. They don't have to play with you. You can create your own adventure. When I'm sitting at my tables DMing or playing with my groups, I don't care what another group down the street is doing. I don't care what version they like more. I don't care if they like 2E, 5E, the edition from this past year. I don't care which one they prefer. That does not matter to me because I am concentrating on playing the game that I want to play with the friends I have. That is the beauty of D&D, is that you can have everything in it if you want. You can do any kind of content you want. You can do homebrew if you want. You can do anything you want with D&D. It is not a game that requires anyone to coexist with another person. That is not a requirement. If you are trying to go after people who are enjoying D&D a different way than you, like all of these people are doing over this poster, then you are the one with the problem. It is your issue. You're the one going after them because two men are kissing on one poster out of hundreds of thousands of bits of D&D artwork. You're the one freaking out about it. That's weak. That's weakness. That's victimhood. You act like you are being victimized because someone else decided to make a piece of art that has gay people in it and you don't want to see gay people. That's where we are. That's the situation we're in. Let me show my response, which somebody tried to tone police me on because I think it's quite funny. Here was my response to the first tweet we looked at where I said, what's weaker, playing a game you love despite peer pressure or being afraid some art will make you start sucking dick? I thought this was quite clever. I got tone police on this, but fuck tone policing. At this point, I am saying whatever the fuck I want to say, however I want to say it, regardless of whether or not someone agrees with my delivery. I don't give a fuck. And if you ever thought for a second that these guys did not have a fantasy of actually killing gay people, if you thought that was something they didn't have, look at this clip here. Yeah. Kabruta shared this. I mean, they're just living out their fantasy, right?